Welcome to the Real Life Wellness Podcast, the show where we explore how to create your own wellness. We dive into everything that happens on the journey to a happier, healthier, and more balanced life. I'm your host, Faith Lauterbach. As a registered nurse and a holistic wellness coach, I have a passion for empowering people to create a vision for their life, prioritize themselves, and then live the life they want. So get ready to discover new ways to nourish your body, mind, and spirit. Let's embark on this journey together and make wellness simple. Well, hello, and welcome back to the Real Life Wellness Podcast. I'm so glad you're here today. Today's episode is number 28, and we're going to be talking about pausing, reflecting, and realigning. Because guess what? It's June, and that means we're halfway through 2025. Isn't that wild? I feel like the older I get, the faster time goes. I don't know how you feel, if you agree or not, but I certainly feel like time is just flying by. So, with that, I would love to be a part of this invitation to check in with ourselves and reset any kind of wellness or life goals that you may have. And this is not from a place of pressure, but from a place of real care and intention for ourselves. And even if you didn't set any official goals in 2025, then this is still a great time to check in with yourself. So I invite you to join us as we do this today, and I'll give you a little kind of layout of what I have planned. The first part is going to be reflecting on the first half of the year. And then the second part is going to be some guided journal prompts that you can use for thinking about or writing down about moving forward to the second half of the year. And then we'll talk about adjusting for the season, because I think it's so important to take a moment to think about the seasons and how whatever that season brings impacts your life, which impacts your schedule and your routines. And when we don't take time to notice that and take a moment to pause, it can really make life feel hectic. If we're trying to do the exact same things that we did in a season where we didn't have as much going on into a season that we have more going on, it can feel really misaligned. So we're going to talk through that as well. So I'm excited. So if you have a piece of paper or a journal and a pen and you want to write down, that'd be a great time. But even if you're walking or driving and don't have that, I still invite you to join in on this conversation. You can always come back to it later and do a little more deep dive after listening through once. It won't be a super long episode. Mine never are. Mine never go over 20 minutes. So, all right. Let's treat this episode like a wellness check-in with a good friend. I'd like to think we're friends. I hope that you feel that way too. I'm so honored you're here. So let's take a breath, reflect, and recenter together. Okay, so this first part is going to be that reflection on the first half of the year. So let's begin by looking back, which I want to say for a moment, I don't think that this type of reflection gets the attention that it needs because it's so impactful. It's such great work when we look back. And I'll say, looking back without judgment, looking back with curiosity and an observation and compassion for ourselves. When we can do that, that's where real growth happens. So we're going to start with that. There'll be 3 different kind of questions to consider about the first half of the year. And I'll give you some examples of things that resonate for me in each of those questions, because I think it's helpful to have examples when we're doing some kind of activity like this. So let's get started. That first question is going to be, what habits supported your energy, mood, and health in these past 6 months? And I'll say, maybe this is a habit that was started, a routine that was started and it fizzled off for some reason, but you look back and you think yes, when that was happening, that was really helpful. It really felt good. So it doesn't have to be something you did for the whole 6 months. It can just be sometime in that 6 months. Okay, so I will say that my morning routine, if you've listened to me, any of my previous podcasts, you may have heard me talk about morning routines. Episode 1, my very first episode, was about creating a morning routine and change your life. I think mornings are very powerful. If you want to go back and listen to that episode when you're done with this one, I really encourage you to. But anyways, what in the morning, I started about, 8+ years ago, doing a short meditation and a short journal session. So when I started, it was 5 minutes and 5 minutes. I am still doing that to this day. It looks sometimes a little longer. Sometimes it just, it's ebbed and flowed as I've gone through different things in my life. But that habit, routine has remained the same, and it really supports my energy and mood and health. So that's one for sure that I know is impactful in my life. The second thing I'd say for me on this one is eating a high protein breakfast. Typically every morning I have a protein yogurt bowl. So I'm using Greek yogurt, which is high in protein. I'm doing some protein powder, a fruit, and some peanut butter. It really helps me feel like I have so much more energy when I get that nice, good boost of protein in the morning. Focusing on filling half my plate with veggies for lunch and dinner and eating them first. And then I've been adding Element, which is electrolytes, to my water every day. And that has been another thing that I feel like has really impacted my energy, mood, and health. Okay. All right, the question number 2 is going to be, what routines felt aligned with the kind of life you want to be living? So what things that you're doing, these habits, routines, feel aligned with the life you want to be living? Some examples for my life are going to be that morning routine. I kind of talked about that in the first one, but having that morning routine feels very aligned with how I want to be living. Making regular workout time, scheduling it, putting it on my calendar, going to bed early. You can ask my husband, I can tend to be quite a night owl, but I also get up early in the morning, so it's a really weird combination. But when I go to bed early, I feel so much better. Regular time with my grandkids. In a lot of ways, my schedule, I have created it to be very flexible so that I can do those things that fill me up. Spending regular time with my grandkids is a big one. And so I have some routines where I have one of my grandkids every Friday morning, and it has been something that I look forward to so much and absolutely love. It is very aligned with the life that I want to be living. So those are mine for the question, what routines felt aligned with the kind of life you want to live? All right, number 3 is, where did things feel off? Where did they feel rushed, forced, or unbalanced? Some examples for me are when I let distraction get in the way of projects that I'm working on. And so sometimes that can be like social media. I've put a lot of things in place this year to help with that, but that can be one of them. Or I'll just find myself doing mindless things instead of doing the things that I know I want my time to be going towards. What I found is a lot of times it's when I'm tired, when I'm not getting great sleep. It's like in those periods of time in my life, I'm much more inclined to let distractions get in the way. So sleep again. The other thing is when, this is going to go back to sleeping again, when my sleep is affected, it throws off my workout routines. I find that if I didn't sleep good, typically I work out early in the morning. That's what works best for me. And so if I don't get a good night's sleep, it's really hard for me to get up and work out. I feel like too, being very aware of the things that I say yes to and making sure that the energy is uplifting to me and knowing earlier if it's draining to me and making decisions to get out of situations or things that are more draining to me than uplifting. And so I feel like I didn't used to be great at just having that awareness of that. So that has been something, is being aware earlier on what feels draining. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So then again, remember, this isn't about judgment. It's about observation with compassion. So taking this moment to gently acknowledge what's working and what is needing a shift. Powerful, powerful stuff. So this section, again, if you're not in a space that you can write it down, come back to it. If you want to put it in your phone notes, these questions are like gold. So please, please do them. And I would love to hear how that goes for you. Please reach out to me and let me know. Okay. So this next part is going to be some guided journal prompts. And again, this can be one that you want to pause maybe and answer those questions, or maybe you just want to listen through, get a feel for it, and come back to it. So there's going to be some questions from the first half of 2025, and then some questions about moving forward. So taking a moment to first say, what am I proud of from the first half of the year? Again, if you want to pause and answer the questions, feel free to do that. Number 2 is, what daily or weekly habit has felt the most nourishing for me? And number 3, what am I ready to release or let go of? Number 4, what does wellness look and feel like for me this summer? And number 5, what one small shift can I make starting this week to support that vision? Okay. Again, if you don't have time to journal now, maybe just reflect gently. Sometimes, having those questions kind of milling around in your mind, you have some big breakthroughs come through when it's quiet or after the question is asked. All right, so we are going to now get into the third part where we're going to talk about how to adjust for the season, which again, I think is so important to take time and look at as the season shifts, what other things may need to shift in order to kind of flow with us. So summer, brings, schools out if you have kiddos at home, but there's obviously more light, longer days, different activities, and it can feel like there's so much to do. It can also feel rushed. It can feel like zapping of our energy, dehydrating, and overwhelming if we're not intentional. So taking a pause here as the season is starting to think about how to be intentional as you move into the season and what needs to shift. And so I would love to kind of go through a few things that may also apply to your life. And feel free to take any ideas that feel right for you. So simplifying your meals. So making some changes where you're using maybe seasonal produce, lighter meals with the heat of the summer, thinking macro balance, so those protein, fats, and carbs, grilled foods, grilled veggies, maybe fruit-forward salads, maybe some more protein-packed smoothies to help with the coolness and still getting that protein in. So simplifying your meals and whatever that looks like for you, thinking through that, what are some things you can do this summer to simplify your meals? Make movement joyful. So whatever you're doing currently to exercise or move your body, thinking about if you need a shift for this summer. Are there some things that need to change for you with changing schedules, change in light, change in heat? What kind of things need to happen to help shift so that you can maintain your workout goals? Maybe it's taking workouts outside. Maybe it's doing them earlier in the day. Maybe it's partnering with a friend to go on some walks before it gets hot out. So thinking for a moment as you go into this summer, are there some shifts that need to be made with your workouts? Another shift I think is really important to think about is rest. Now, a lot of times we want to just see how much we can get done in a day, and we're not necessarily thinking about where can we rest. Rest is important, and rest is not something that we have to earn. I love there's this quote, and hopefully I'm going to do it justice here, but it's something along the lines of, instead of asking yourself, what do you need to do in order to rest? It's asking yourself, how do you need to rest in order to do the things you want to do? And so looking at it through this lens, I think is really helpful and can be a great way to shift that thinking. And then what kind of boundaries or routines, time away from screens would help encourage that rest so that you can have the energy that you need to do the things you need to do. Also thinking about it, if you're not already doing this, maybe checking in every week, maybe Sunday night or Friday morning, but taking a moment to ask yourself, how am I doing? What do I need? It can be a simple question, but having it regularly can really help for you to stay in this energy that you want to be in, to do the things you want to do by having a simple, regular check-in. Also, I think hydration is something that doesn't get focused on enough. And in the summer months, especially when we have increased temperatures, maybe different activities outside, thinking about maybe adding some electrolytes or even infusing some fruit into your water, and a gentle reminder to sip throughout the day so that you're staying hydrated with these summer temperatures. Okay, so those are some 6 shifts that you may want to consider as you adjust for the summer season. And that brings us here to the end of our podcast episode. If you're still here with me, thanks so much. It means, I can't even tell you how much it means for you to be on this path with me as I share things through the podcast, and I hope that it's helpful to you. From today, what I'd love for you to take with you and remember is that mid-year resets aren't about starting over. It's about realigning with real life, right? When we make goals, if we make goals in January, it's really hard to know what's going to be happening in June. And so this time is just about reshifting to the growth and the learning that you've done this year so far. These kind of resets aren't about massive overhauls. It's just, let's set one small step in the direction that you want to be in. So take that breath, release the pressure, and choose one thing, just one thing that would nourish you this week. I would love to help you with this if you're wanting some deeper dive into what this might look like for your real life. I'm so excited to give you a couple different options for that. So the first one would be a 2-session coaching program where we just meet twice. And what this does is it helps you get a very practical plan for moving forward in whatever way you want to be doing that. So we'll spend the first session with an assessment and kind of an intake of how things are going, where are you at. We'll dive deep into all of that. And even with that first session, you're going to leave with some practical tips to start doing right now. I will do a very good assessment over the next week or so, and then we'll meet again to come up with your plan. I'm going to give you a plan, a 4-week plan for moving forward and real changes that you can make in your life to be leading the life that you want. It's such a cool program. And what I love about it is it gives you quick results and real life changes that are going to make a difference in your life immediately. So I'm going to link that in the show notes. I would love for you to do that. It's very, very, very affordable and very value-packed. The second option I have that I'd love to share is my wellness membership. My wellness membership is something that I've been doing for over a year now, and it has been such a great supplement and support to people's lives. And it's called the Daily Dose, and you get a daily dose of wellness into your inbox every single morning. Each day is themed. And so it's Monday through Sunday, you get a small wellness challenge. And it includes a new meditation that I create each week. It includes a meal plan for your following week and lots of different other goodies that support your overall holistic wellness. I would love to have you join in as a member there with me. All right. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who needs another kind of boost to get them through the next half of the year. And don't forget to subscribe and follow the show. Until next time, stay well and be kind to yourself. Remember, wellness doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful. All right. See you soon. Thank you so much for tuning in today to the Real Life Wellness Podcast. To stay updated on my latest episodes and wellness insights, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and follow me on social media. If you have any questions or topics you'd like me to explore, feel free to reach out. I love hearing from you. If you could, please review or rate this podcast on Apple or Spotify to help more people learn how to make wellness simple.